Let's see here.
Move that far over.
I don't think I can.
So,
No.
Kenny, do you mind if I?
Yes,
try
please
something
feel free.
different? Minimize.
Ah,
If Kelly can't fix it, nothing can, or Shannon can't fix it, nobody can.
can you all see that? The full screen? Perfect. Well, thank you so much for some time today to share with you about our 2022-2023 Compassionate Community Project. I want to introduce Amy Blondin first. She is the Assistant Director of Communications for North Thurston Public Schools. So Amy is fairly new in her role, just the last few months. Yep. So Amy and I get to work together on this project and probably some others over the years. So excited that Amy is part of their team. And so just to get started, again, this is a
We have a quorum now.
yeah. So this is our 6th year partnering with North Thurston Public Schools and the Lacey South Sound Chamber for our compassionate community efforts. And this year we are actually continuing the theme of last year, which was the spirit of giving back. And because the pandemic still felt very present and it made some volunteering efforts hard and a challenge, we just know that our community has more to give and more to show. And we know that there's still a lot of need in our community as well. So we thought we would do the Spirit of Giving Back Part 2. And we're excited. We've already had some really great turnout. I know the school district, which Amy's going to be talking about, some of their schools have really stepped up already to this challenge. And the city has some fun things coming up in the future as well. So just a quick background in history for our compassionate community history. As a reminder, back in 2015, we signed the International Charter for Compassion following the North Thurston Public Schools and created this partnership effort with them and held a compassionate community forum in 2016, which had a great turnout of community members from all over the community and had some really great outcomes from that meeting. And then you'll see here, these are the different projects that we've had over the years. So we've had fundraising efforts for the Lacey Food Bank when they were just getting started. And then again, for the final phase, the food pantry in 2 separate years, raising tens of thousands of dollars for that site, which is really special to be a part of that and to see that kind of from the ground up. We've done 100,000 compassionate acts, which we surpassed. We did Seasons of Compassion in 2019 to 2020, doing quarterly projects each quarter to get involved in our community. So this kind of follows the same suit, but and then yeah, the Spirit of Giving Back last year, Part 1, and then Part 2 this year. So we're excited to see what our community is going to do to get involved. I'll pass it over to Amy.
Hey, so thank you all for having me here today. I appreciate it. I wanted to talk a little bit about participation. Our goal is really to get as many folks involved as possible in whatever capacity they want. It's as simple as finding a project or an opportunity for your business or your group to engage in. Checking out a banner. We have one at the school district headquarters. We have one here at the City of Lacey, and the South Sound Chamber also has one. Each North Thurston Public School also has one in their front office that is available for checkout. So it's really about capturing the moment with a picture and sending it in so we can spotlight the work on social media. And we have a Facebook page that we 3 organizations can all access and share things on to really get the word out about the acts of compassion. Just to give you a few examples of things that we're doing, most recently, the Little Red Schoolhouse backpack distribution, which is a long-standing partnership with the schools. We handed out more than 2,000 backpacks filled with school supplies in August, right before school started, which is such an essential need for our community, making sure that all kids feel ready to start school and have the supplies they need. Meadows has done a food drive very recently. You'll see those those kids down there with their proud banner. And then the school board in early November passed a resolution supporting the Spirit of Giving Back, part 2, as Jenny said. And we're looking for an opportunity for the school board to do an active service this year. Of course, they do that all the time in various capacities, but we want to make sure that they're involved. So more to come on that. And then a few more, our Envision Career Academy, which is a fairly new choice high school in our district. They have one of their core components of their program is service, learning through service. And so those students are out in the community all the time, working at the food bank. I just was with them a couple of weeks ago. They were at Pleasant Glade working with kids on the playground, which was hilarious and fun to be a part of. So the Envision kids are out there all the time. We also have a mentor program where we pair high school students with middle school students. This is a Camachan program specifically, but just to make sure that there's somebody there to, lend an ear and help them, in any capacity that's needed. So those are just a couple examples of what we're thinking about when we think about the spirit of giving back in our community.
And then I just wanted to share a few highlights from the city. So the City of Lacey Parks and Recreation Department, they organize a giving tree every year, which is currently underway right now. And that supports North Thurston Public Schools Family and Youth Resources Center. So a huge need there. These are kids who have been identified that need some support during the holiday season. And so they get to submit some requests of things that they need or want. And our employees step up in a big way every year. So this is just one way that the City of Lacey employees can get involved. Also, our Lacey Police Department always does a great job of finding a need out in the community and supporting local companies and their efforts. And so Coastal Farm, Ranch and Farm, I think that's what they're called. They did a food drive last month that the Lacey Police Department had a bin in their department and helped push out through social media. And then they're also supporting a warm clothing drive that's currently going on this month. And then these are just a few examples of the way that our community has reached out. So again, this isn't just the City of Lacey specifically or the North Thurston specifically. We're really trying to make this known to community members and groups, churches, families in ways that they can support. So Project Linus I can't remember which group that was, but Project Linus, they support the family and youth services also by providing blankets that kids can receive and just have a special blanket that they can call their own. And then St. Mark Lutheran Church, their branching out committee, they did a clothing drive and collected over 200 pieces of clothing. So Amy and I are going to be at the Lacey Chamber Forum this week on Wednesday, providing this information, and Amy has lined up some great speakers from the schools. There's going to be some kids from elementary, middle school, and high school. Yep. Sharing ways that they have given back and how that's impacted our community. So if you're available, I encourage you to come out to the chamber on Wednesday and hear from us. Also, I will be finding some different opportunities for our Lacey family to get involved in different service projects throughout the year. And I will be sure to let our council members know about those. We would love to see you there as well. And just showing up for our community in ways that they need. So are there any questions at this time?
Ed, Carolyn, you have anything?
No, I just want to say I'm so glad that we're back this year with this program, and I think it's just such a warm, loving thing to do, and such a great way for our kids to learn to be better citizens.
Yeah.
Ed, anything?
No, I have nothing.
I would just say I would love to see the Early Learning Center be incorporated into this in the next year or whatever. But yeah, all great, making the community better. So is that, I take that's the end of your presentation?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then next we have the city banners, Donna.
Somebody stop shooting it for me.
Please get it.
There she is. All right.
Here I am, here I am.
Oh, look it. Sorry.
I support.
Yeah, nice support. Well, thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to come and talk to you guys about our upcoming public art project that's going to be incorporating some pole banners around the city. And I know that the public art plan is not new to you, but I just wanted to kind of start with a little overview of the objectives and things. I can read them or we can just look through them, but basically we're trying to define our city boundaries and the entryways into our community, create a sense of community identity and character. And we want to reflect our history, heritage, community values, and culture, provide interactive opportunities for the public, and provide a pleasing living, working, and playing environment, and provide sustainable maintenance and operation costs, and create opportunities for civic engagement and evoke a sense of fun. And I highlighted specifically the enhance economic development and attract visitors because we feel that the public art is specifically these pole banners that we're going to be doing are going to be a really great way for people visiting our community to see all the different things that you can do. And I would also like to say that we would like to expand that to just the people, our community members, because there's a lot of things that happen in our community that a lot of people just aren't aware of, and they just don't know because they haven't taken the time or had the opportunity to really look around and see all the wonderful things that Lacey has to offer. So also just the themes that we were looking at again in the art plan is the natural beauty. Of course, we know how beautiful Lacey is with our trees and lakes and our history. And we always like to talk about the importance of family and youth. And then the artifacts and the history here. And the diversity, really focus on the diversity also, and our military, which we always like to call out to because they're a very important part of our community. So in terms of the, maybe let's just wait. I won't go to that one yet. So in terms of our art projects, our first one that we're going to roll out is the pole banners, which will probably be installed in the spring next year. So they'll be, like we said in the art plan, placed throughout the city on, we're going to try to do it kind of strategically too, this in places that people will, maybe it will be close to something that it's talking about. We want to focus on the diversity in our community and also all the great things and the beauty in our community. So for 2022, we did get LTAC funding, and that's why we're also focusing on the importance of the visitors and letting people know. So maybe they'll come back again. They're going to come one time for the Children's Festival, but then they're going to come back for Fun Fair or go to Long Lake Park or something like that in the future. So I started a plan of, we've started mocking up some examples, and these will not be all of the things that we'll do. And this will continue on, but we're going to start with probably 15 to 20 different ones, and they'll be two-sided in different spots. So here's some more. And another example. And those are only the examples that I brought for today, because we do need to do like a military one, and we want to focus on like disc golf and regular golf and things like that. But these will just be throughout the community at different spots up on the poles. The size is about 10 feet by 2.5 feet. So they're very large.
Cool.
So that's all I have. If anybody has any questions, or Shannon, do you have anything you want to add?
Great job, Donna.
Okay.
Ed, do you have anything? Carolyn?
No, I think those are great. I can't wait to see those.
Yeah, I'm
displayed
super
across the
excited.
city.
Super excited to get them
Yeah.
started.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
Carolyn has a question.
Yeah.
Donna?
Yeah.
These look like the kinds of banners that could easily adapt to those pull-up stands that you can
Oh, yeah.
use
Great
for
idea.
festivals and stuff. Are you all planning that, or?
Yeah, that's a great, we hadn't really thought about that at this time. This project is specifically for the pole banners, but that's a fantastic idea. I like it.
Yeah, it looks like it would lend itself and
Yeah.
be really adaptable. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Well,
Any-
I love the bullet point about engaging the public in their government. So, you know, in our diverse population. So that's awesome. Any way we can get people involved in their government, it's a win for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome job, Donna. And our last agenda item is legislative agenda management systems.
Oh, Kelly, do I-
Miss Perry.
You don't need to call it. Yes. Kelly's gonna run her. Get my- Thank you. Oh. Good morning.
All right, ready to go, Perry.
Thank you, council members. We are here to present to you our current legislative agenda management system and also to talk about a future one as well. And Kelly, you know Kelly, Special Projects Administrator, she's going to be doing part of the slides, and so will I.
Great, thank you, Perry.
You there?
So,
Yep, okay. Sorry. I think I froze. I think you guys were fine.
so I want to introduce our work group first and to thank the other members of our work group. So we picked a multidisciplinary team of staff that work on the agenda management process. So from the beginning of putting together a staff report and organizing what goes on the agendas for the city manager's review to publishing and putting out the media. So we have Perry, our city clerk, Alyssa, our deputy city clerk, Tabitha, our confidential administrative assistant, John Koch, who you're very familiar with, who is our digital media specialist, and myself.
Our mission for the work group is to identify the best legislative agenda management system for the city. And Granicus, our current one that we're using, Granicus Media Manager, it's a legacy version of Granicus. And we have been using that since 2011. And over these years, technology has improved, but the current system we're using, we have not, incorporated any improvements to that Granicus system. And the needs of the city that met the needs of the city at the time, but now there are so many new technologies out there that we feel that the city needs to move and improve the system that we currently have. Part of the system that we feel does not meet our needs right now is workflows and process automation. For example, for staff that contribute to the agenda and provide staff reports for review and approval by the city manager. It's a very manual process for them to create those in a Word version, upload them to our shared drive, email the city manager that they're ready. And then when the city manager is done with that, then he notifies the clerk's office, and then we take over for that agenda packet. And then there's a lot of steps involved with creating from a Word version to a PDF to hyperlinking and bookmarking, and then sending out the agenda packet to council and staff and publishing it on the website. And some of the new systems that are out there, or the technology that's out there, they have workflows included with the packages and the automation, the process automation that will really save staff time on the back end, clerk's office, and staff that contribute to those agenda packets. And the ideal system that we're looking at would provide an intuitive way to streamline the entire agenda management process, from creating the agenda to managing the live meetings when the meeting is being held. And some of those would function well with our current website and provide access for multiple users and enable customized and automated workflows and improve accessibility.
And I think to Perry's point, if you look at this screenshot of Granicus, it's a very static view. You can get your documents, but there's not a whole lot else that you can do with it. And so the work that we're doing with our work group is included in the council's work plan for 22-24. And it's also included in the communications plan. So everything that we've done, it feels really good to be able to say that we are strategically aligned with the city's goals moving forward. And so I want to talk about our methodology. So we were really intentional. We wanted to learn from system acquisitions in the past. And so we took a good month to understand our needs and walking through what we do and what we actually want the outcome to be. And so we did a needs analysis. We researched systems used by every city with a population above Lacey's. So we have a very large spreadsheet of all of the legislative systems used in Washington state by cities that we felt were comparable or that we would grow into. We shared our needs assessment with the vendors to make sure that we were efficient and effective with our demonstrations and that we were focused on what we wanted to see. We evaluated the candidate systems based on what our criteria were from the needs assessment. And then we recommended a final option. And we called ourselves PALS, People Advancing Legislative Systems. So we had a good acronym too. So project success.
Our ranking criteria, when we looked at these systems, on the clerk side of the legislative process, we were looking for agenda item tracking, automated workflows, as I mentioned before, and notifications, and automatic agenda formatting, where it creates the bookmarks for us. It does take staff quite a long time when sometimes you're putting together an agenda packet for maybe 4 meetings coming up the next week. Live meeting tools for motions and votes, editable PDF files with auto formatting, multiple file formats accepted, data migration support for the packets that we have, agendas and videos that we already have in the Granicus system, analytics and reporting, and also training support.
And from council and the public's perspective, some of these ranking criteria that are really important are search capabilities. We want you to be able to go into this module and search for keywords like housing or homelessness or whatever the issue is that you're looking for, all the meetings and agendas that related to that topic. And not just those topics being in the title, but being able to search the content of those agendas. Some other things were the live video integration. So right now in Granicus, you can sort of do that. You can watch the video and click along on the agenda items, but this framework that we'll show you is a little bit easier to use for the end user. This is device agnostic, which means you can do this on any device. We want a cloud-based system with unlimited storage that allows you to look at this on your phone, on your iPad, on your computer, and that it saves everything to the cloud. So we don't have to worry about public records being saved on personal devices. Really, these criteria that we were looking at, I think you'll notice that they were not surface things. They're not surface things like easy to use interface, or these are really deep things that if we don't look at these things, we will have regrets in a year or two. And these were the things that really break down barriers to make this system accessible. And so we were really thinking about how do we make this easier to use? Because if it's easier to use, then more people will use it. And so based on those ranking criteria from the needs analysis, we ranked 3 different systems: Civic Plus, Prime Gov, and let's move this out of the way, Granicus. And as you can see, we came away with pretty similar rankings. There wasn't anything that was too alarming, but Civics Plus really excelled and there were no deficiencies. There were no, out of 1 to 5, there were no rankings less than 3 here.
Are you able to move the bubble?
Is this the bubble?
The total, oh, here we go.
Did it move?
Right.
bubble be gone.
There we go.
All right.
Thank you, Shannon.
And we have this available in the presentation on the website if you'd like to look at it more granularly.
So Civic Plus has the best opportunity for function, it looks like, out of the three.
Yeah, we believe so. We believe it's the easiest system for casual users to browse through. It had full functionality for what we do on the back end, and it offers council more options that are easy to use. And now I've clicked on Zoom. There we go. And these are our next steps, Perry.
Yeah, so the next step for moving forward would be to phase out Granicus Media Manager and implement Civic Clerk for all the legislative management functions and online materials publication. So we're in the fourth quarter here in 2022. We'd like to finalize the contract with Civic Plus for the Civic Clerk platform and begin implementation project kickoff with the Civic Plus team. And then in the first quarter of 2023, we would begin consulting process to map configuration options. Onboard the City Clerk's Office of Public Affairs to begin testing those configurations, create a standard operating procedure with input from staff and council, and develop implementation work plan with vendor and staff. And then in the second quarter, we'd be conduct onboarding for council, staff, and the community, training, testing, and testing, and more training and testing. Advertise the new system on all the channels.
And so we wanted to point out just a few highlights of this new system for different stakeholders. And so for council members and commissioners, it's going to allow you to make secure individual annotations and meeting notes. And I think that you're able to do that on Granicus now, but this will just be a more streamlined approach to doing that. For the clerk's office and for staff, this is way more automated. It allows us to have workflows and customizations. We don't have to use PDF, Word, email. We don't have to use all of these different systems. We can do everything within this Civic Clerk environment. It's easy to use for staff who are submitting agenda items, who might not be working in the minutia of the agenda process. And it allows managers documentation of every step of the process. So when I create a document and send it into the workflow, everyone can see what's going on. There's no hunting down staff reports. We have unlimited cloud-based storage, and it works with Microsoft 365. So if we need to edit a document, we can just open up 365 within Civic Clerk. We don't have to leave the program. So that's a really nice feature. And it is improved transparency for the community, which I will show you here with an example at the end. So this is more of what the process looks like. At the beginning here, we have staff who are creating agenda items within Civic Clerk. They're not making something outside in Word and reinventing the wheel. There's templates in this program, so they can add all of their documents and attachments, and then they send that for approval up their chain of command. And here, the managers and supervisors and subject matter experts would look, and they can provide their documented approval, or they can send it back or edit it. And then we publish that. And so this would publish directly to our website. And I'll show you an example of that at the end. And it's very easy to make last minute additions to this. And so templates in the system contribute to uniformity. And in this way, we use one system to create, to discuss with each other what's going on, to publish this stuff, to engage with the community, and to go back and edit easily. Once those meetings are published, our participants will see them pop up in their queue. And so our council members and commissioners will see immediately in the system when a new agenda is ready, and you can follow along during a live meeting and see where you are. So it gives you also a visual aid of what's going on. You will always have your annotations. And something that's really neat about this system, it's a feature that we will enable, is public comment. So you can choose an agenda item and immediately put a public comment into this system. So instead of emailing a public comment or calling in, we have this so that they can do that right on the agenda. And everyone will be able to see those public comments. And then post-meeting is going to look a lot like it does now, where we have a live video stream. And I'll show you an example here. If you'll permit me one moment to switch my share screen. I want to show you a really good example. This is Holly Springs, North Carolina. And I'm showing you Holly Springs, North Carolina, because they are implementing it the way that we envision with our website, where we have a section and we have the module. It's very clean, it's very nice looking, it's very intuitive. We have a calendar here to our left. We can search for a date. This is my favorite feature. So I just put in the phrase housing. Let's see what happens. It just gave me every agenda file attachment that has to do with a housing issue. So their staff have tagged those issues as housing. So I think that that's really useful, especially when we're doing research or agenda item history. And so I do want to show you.
That's amazing, because one of those attachments was 1969.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So this is what happens when you click on an actual meeting. So this is their December 6th council business meeting. These are the agenda items here. And they do not have the public comment period enabled, the public comment feature enabled, but on ours, you would be able to click on an agenda item and add a public comment. But as you can see, we can look at, let's look at their budget item here. This is their template for, so each agenda item has standardized information that's very clear and easy to read. And so your staff are working on the content and not the formatting. So that saves a little bit of time. And then, so if we looked at the media, there's no meeting media. I'll show you that on a different meeting, but files are very easy to get to. And if you log in and create a community account, you can email agenda items to others. Or if you're a grad student like me, yourself, because you're doing research. So let's go ahead and let's go in the past here. Let's go to, I'm just going to pick a date. Town Council business meeting from July 19th. All right. So if we click on meeting media, you get a nice big picture of the live feed. And you can navigate to specific, that was very meta, a council meeting, at a committee meeting. You can navigate to specific content.
That's pretty slick.
It's pretty nice, and it works really well with accessibility features. So if we were using e-readers, or we need to, like I said, it's device agnostic. So this is very clear. It's very easy to read on a phone or on a desktop or on a tablet. I'm going to stop sharing and see if there's any questions, or Perry, if you wanted to add anything that I missed.
Nothing to add. Just we could take some questions if you have any.
Carolyn, you got anything?
Yeah, I have a few. Well, first, this looks very exciting. First question is transition. And how that's going to work between how we transition off Granicus and on to Civic Clerk.
Or Perry, do you want to take that, or would you like?
You can do that. I haven't talked much yet about the transitioning piece, other than the migration of the archived records that we have now, the meeting material, and implementing it, like flipping that switch. There'll be a lot of training ahead of time. and for council as well, before we do that. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I think our motto for the implementation is no surprises. And so we are going to take the first quarter to really, the first part of our stakeholder input was those of us who work on the back end. And now that we're actually rolling out the implementation and scheduling that with the vendor, now we need the other stakeholders, which are you, community members, and other staff who would be doing staff reports to make sure we design the front end of the system in a way that's appropriate for us. And so we have Granicus for at least 6 more months. So we have time to do a thoughtful and methodical implementation.
Excellent. One little request, can we make sure that the news media or another one of the outreach groups that gets a little onboarding with this process?
Can you say that one more time, council member? I'm very sorry. Who is it?
That's okay. News media, like particularly the Olympian, but there may be others if you want to reach out so that they understand what's going on and can easily use it.
And that will occur as we're approaching the actual turning on of the system, is doing a big public outreach campaign to make sure that, again, no surprises.
Right.
Ed, do you have anything?
No, this seems like a well thought out system, and it makes our lives easier in the long run. Then let's get her done. Does this require a council decision, or this decision has already been made, or?
No, to my understanding, this is already funded and it is in the work plan. So we are ready to go. We wanted to make sure that, again, no surprises, that you knew about this before it was even signed or implemented.
Well,
Just a little bit more to add on to that, and this is Shannon Kelly Fong, Assistant City Manager. So we are moving forward with the contract with Civic Plus, and it was identified as one of the budget projects that we had for 2022. And this, like Kelly and Perry have said throughout this presentation, this is one of many presentations that we'll be having with a variety of stakeholders in the next couple of months to get Civic Clerk up and running for the community as well as for the organization.
Have fun with that.
yeah.
Next up
Well-
is general government. All right, well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you being on this journey with us.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of us council members that were on the council back in 2011 when Granicus came on, and it was a wonderful tool back then. Great. I think this is going to be more user friendly, especially for our elderly population that have a harder time, especially in weather or with the pandemics and making it to public meetings or being in public in general.
Yes.
Other than that, it covers all the I's, the infrastructure, the inclusion and innovation. This is, I hope we don't have to wait 6 months before we launch it. I hope we launch it, beginning of the year or in a couple months. But again, like you said, we don't want any hiccups. We want, no surprises. But I think this is a great tool for staff, council, and the residents that call Lacey home. So well done. I know you guys putting a lot of work into this, but this will save you a lot of work in the long run too, which brings a lot of happiness to the council members, knowing that you guys aren't overworked and that you're going to stick around for a long time because we need you. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Yeah, one more question I forgot before. And this is, I think, probably for Perry. Are most of our records now digitized, or are there still paper records that will need to be dealt with on this?
You're talking specifically about agenda packets?
Agenda packets, other records that people will want to access through
Right.
this.
Right. So currently, what we have online in Granicus that will be migrated over are the agenda, the material behind, that went to council at that time. And those will be migrated into the new system, and they go back to 2011. But that is mainly for the council regular meetings, not for work sessions. Because at that time, we only did audio recordings of work sessions at that time. So does that answer your question, or Shannon, do you want to?
Councilmember Cox, I think one of the question part was the total overall, all of the documents here at the City of Lacey. And for that, it's kind of a variety of where we're at right now. But the great thing about moving forward with this system is it allows us to bring something fully into a digital cloud-based process. So we only have digital records moving forward. And then in the future, we're going to be able to use all of the things we learn through this process and apply it to a document management system, which will be kind of the next larger project, which will have a much broader extent across the organization. And we anticipate that'll be a several-year process. But this at least allows us to do kind of the initial phases and learn a lot of the same technologies that we'll be able to apply in the future as we look to bring more city documents into the digital world.
Great. Thank you. That got at it.
Well, is there anything else for the good order before we adjourn? I would just say, staff, great job as usual. This is amazing. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait. But I think it was Donna that actually put Milo to sleep here. It's a bad picture, but he's asleep. That was Donna's doing, I believe, because this is way too exciting to put a dog to sleep. Other than that,
Put the dog to sleep.
puppy.
Sorry. My voice sounds like music.
So I'll call this meeting adjourned at 11:44, and I hope you guys have